Hi everyone, my name is Eva Coles and this is my response to discussion board post 4. Okay, so I attended 5th grade at Frederick Classical Charter School. This school was advertised as a school of advanced learning. So the curriculum that we used wasn't a public school curriculum. It was more so based on character development and formulating skills that we could carry throughout our education. The cartoon depicts Piaget and Vygotsky's contrasting theories. I believe they made Piaget an older man to show that his ideas were older and outdated, whereas Vygotsky was younger. Just based on my personal education experience, I can see more of Vygotsky's theories to be true. Learning shaped my development, and because I was taught by teachers that emphasize social constructionism, paired with individual development, I feel like the school that I went to, we did do a lot of group projects. We did do a lot of hands-on activities, field trips. We had a lot of autonomy in what we did, but there was independent worksheets. When we had readings in English class, we did them independently. When we had math worksheets, we did them independently and things like that. So I'd say that they still had assignments where we could be tested on our individual knowledge, but we did do a lot of peer-to-peer interaction. Most of the time, the teacher would just give us the basic knowledge that we needed and then allow us to have creative freedom on either if we're doing a project or if we have an assignment that we're doing in class. We're following the structure of the assignment, but they asked more open-ended questions. Piaget's classroom is centered around the individual or internal interaction, which is connected to individual cognition. Vygotsky shows learning as a mediated social process, which Wrench, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, states that learning happens through cultural tools. In Piaget's theory, the teacher, I feel like, is more so just a resource in the classroom. And in Vygotsky's theory, teachers are the structure of the classroom. And that's kind of why I like Vygotsky's theory more, because I do feel like teachers play a stronger role in the classroom than just a resource or materials or giving the kids the supplies that they need. I do feel like they add to the structure of the classroom and set the tone and are more so like the basis of the class. One thing I have learned in a lot of my education courses that I've taken is that a negative or bad classroom environment, which is created by the teacher, can mess up the whole structure of the classroom, and learning could possibly not even take place for either of these theories if it is under a bad environment. I personally think that learning is more so based on the school that you go to or the teachers that you have. I think that learning is more constructivist. However, my learning experience, I went to the charter school from third grade to 8th grade. Definitely took a more Vygotsky social constructivism approach. A lot of our learning at the charter school was goal-directed learning. Like I stated previously, I remember specifically one project in history class that we had to do. We had been taught the lesson in our, we didn't use a textbook. It was more so like a storybook. I'm not sure. It was very old, but we would learn the information or learn the history of the timeline that we were talking about at the time. And then he gave us a project basically to create a structure from this timeline, and we had creative freedom to create like any type of structure that illustrated this timeline, how we like what we got from what we learned. Another actually really fun project that we also did in history class was we mummified chicken. Like for the Egyptian part of our history lesson, obviously we learned the history of Egypt and how they did the mummification process to kind of preserve their leaders. Then we did a hands-on experiment or project where we had chicken legs and we like put, I don't even remember, we put like baking soda on them, something to preserve them. We wrapped them in a cloth, and then we got to decorate in art class. So our art class and our history class kind of did a combination, and we got to make coffins for the chicken legs, the mummified chicken legs. And it was really fun. And obviously that learning style stuck with me more because I got that hands-on experience, and I'm more likely to now remember, okay, yes, Egyptians do the mummification process better than if I was just to read it out of a textbook. Also, a lot of our learning at the charter school was through social interactions. I remember in English class, after we finished a book, and we read hard literature at this school. And we were always required to annotate. So that we would go home, we would have a chapter and we have to annotate. And then we would come back to class and we would have discussions. But at the end of the book, our teacher would set the classroom up in kind of like a circle. I don't remember if it was called a Socratic seminar or a debate, but we did Socratic seminar. I think it was called a Socratic seminar, but we would do that. And that helped us better understand what we read and clarified things for other students who might not have got the same thing from whatever text that you read versus somebody else. The teacher would kind of be the mediator of this Socratic seminar, and they would just ask open-ended questions, and we would just go back and forth and based on the question. We were able to create our own answers, and the teacher just guided us in the direction of understanding what we read. A lot of the stuff that me and my peers learned during this time at the charter school were internalized. I still talk to my friends from that school to this day, and a lot of the study techniques and like the annotating the text was beneficial, because still to this day, when I'm reading the passages that are assigned in college classes, I'm annotating as I go. And it was just a good habit that I learned. So that kind of shows me that the stuff that we learned in school, I internalized, and that became a part of my development.